Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. We have got quite a few questions to get to today. We're going to jump to them in just a minute, but don't forget first to like, share, subscribe. You know, the YouTube magic. Help us get those YouTube robot ninjas into action, get more people starting Kendo. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment using the word Kendo, and we will definitely grow the Kendo population by 367 billion by tomorrow afternoon. Okay, so just make sure you do that. More importantly than that though, if you like these videos that I put out, whether it's these FAQ sort of question and answer, Q&A I should say, not FAQ, style videos in the form of Kendo Rant, whether it's the feedback videos, analysis videos, or instructional videos, I've got a new instructional video coming out next week. It's already there in the early access group. If you're in the early access group, it's already there, all right? There's a link to the early access group down in the comments, by the way, in the description, sorry. We've got a brand new video coming out next week, all right? And I've got more on the way as well, and it's all free, all free. There's no membership cost, no monthly charges. We don't charge you for subtitles, nothing like that, all right? It's all free. It's a win-win situation because all you have to do to support it and keep more coming is shop at KendoStar.com. And KendoStar is the best Kendo equipment website in the history and future of the galaxy. Now, of course, I would say that because I own the place, but everybody agrees with me. KendoStar is by far the best. You get the best equipment, you get the best service, okay? We're an established brand specifically for the international community, all right? I'm not drop shipping from the other side of the world. I'm not operating out of a garage or something like that. We're an established business with a full team of staff ready to serve you. All right, that's KendoStar.com. Okay, everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth, as the ancient proverb goes. I think it's from the Book of Five Rings or something. Okay, let's get to these questions. First one. Hi Fisher Sensei, I recently achieved Shodan, but I'm finding Kentai Ichi challenging. I'm particularly confused about timing and Kihon. Should the right foot move first, the sword, or both together? During Suburi with men on, I can focus on pushing off with the left foot, but once I'm in Bogu and facing an opponent, my arms seem to initiate the strike instead. As a result, I feel like I miss the Fumikomi timing with my right foot landing before the strike. Is it correct to always start Kihon with the left foot and maintain good posture, or is there more to it? I also know I need to drive from the hips, but it feels like a lot to keep in mind, yeah. Do you have any advice on how to improve Kentai Ichi, especially in terms of timing? I'd really appreciate any suggestions. Thank you in advance. Yeah, so a couple of things. The video I'm going to put out, or it's in the early access group now, it's about Suburi actually, and how you can improve your Kendo really quickly using Suburi and its different methods of Suburi. That will help you improve your Kihon in your Bogu Kendo as well. Now, when you're doing your strikes with your men on, you do have to focus on pushing your hips forward, pushing your body forward from your left leg, all right? Now, if you start to hit with your arms first, then yeah, it's most likely that your foot will land first. So if you're doing the big strike, for example, if you try to swing and step out and stamp at the same time, what will happen is you'll swing up, your foot will come down, and then this way like that, so it'll be all disjointed, all right? Sorry. What I think is better, especially at the sort of level that you're at, all right? This is for the level that you're at, all right, before someone gets nuts in the comments, all right, is lift first and then leap forward and strike, okay? Lift, men, this way, all right? And try to time that stamp pretty much roughly with the downswing of your shinai as you push off with the left, all right? And then bring the left foot up nice and quickly. If it's a small men strike, then I recommend what you try to do is push your right foot out first. Okay, start to push your right foot out first, keep your kamae as long as possible, and at the last minute, men with the shinai, all right? It's not easy, it takes a lot of practice, years and years of practice actually. So, you know, you're just at Shodan, so don't worry about it too much, but you do need to focus on it, and you need to focus on the details when you're practicing your Kihon. It has to become natural, like a natural habit to your body, if you know what I mean. But it will come, all right? It will come, just keep focused on it, all right? That's the only thing I can say. Hello, Fish Sensei. I've been watching YouTube a few recent Japanese tournaments, East versus West police tournaments, and it seems that the 3-second rule for Subuzeri may have changed, or at least it's not enforced that strictly. I couldn't notice about Kakegoi during the same moment. What do you reckon? It's not changed. It's not changed. It's the same as it was before. Okay, how am I going to explain this without like causing some kind of like right, okay. So here's the thing. The 3-second rule is not changed. In fact, it's not a 3-second rule. That's one. It's not a 3-second rule. 3 seconds is what we say, or what the Zenkennen has put out in English as a rough guideline, because we don't use the kind of same sort of expression of time as they do in Japanese, which would be hitokokyu, which is one breath. Now, this is particularly highlighted for me at the Shimpan selection seminar for the WKC, for the World Championships, which was last August 2023. And I was translator there. And somebody asked an excellent question. They said to the senseis, if you're saying that in Tsubazeriai, hitokokyu, one breath, is roughly 3 seconds, is that the same for when somebody falls over? You have generally hitokokyu to hit them. Does that mean it's 3 seconds for that as well? And as soon as he said that, the sensei's like, ooh, well, no. And the thing is they've put this guideline of 3 seconds out there, but it's just a guideline. It's just a guideline, okay? The main important thing that has to be considered, it's not, and we have a tendency, I think, sort of outside of Japan, we have a bit of a tendency to be very binary over it, right? It's 3 seconds or not. You know what I mean? Like, yes or no. Like, when it's a lot more grey in practice, okay? So if you watch those Japanese shiai, it should be about 3 seconds as a general rule, but it's what's most important is ensuring that the Tsubazeriai is Tsubazeriai, and it is both players looking for an active strike and coming to the conclusion that there is or there isn't a chance for one, and then separating, rather than getting to Tsubazeriai and using that time to run down the clock, or sort of resting in Tsubazeriai in a way. So yes, in general terms, if you watch especially high-level Japanese shiai, their Tsubazeriai is still very intense, and there's still semeai going on in the Tsubazeriai, and the Shimpan generally let that play out. Because what's happening is still fair. Rather than being like 1, 2, 3, yame, hansoku. You know what I mean? Like, the Shimpan aren't there looking to give out hansoku. What you're looking for is, you know, what can I say? Like, they're not trying to interfere with the shiai if they can help it. So the provisional rules is what it's called, hasn't changed surrounding that. It's still hitokokyu, one breath, which is roughly 3 seconds, as a general rule, okay? But it's at the judgment of the shushin, okay? It's at the judgment of the shushin, and if they assess whether what's happening in front of them is kind of constitutes a penalty or not, okay? And in the cases that you're looking at, it's not that, is it? If you know, it's not somebody running down the clock or trying not to engage in Tsubazeriai. You know, there's still aiki and semeai there, you know, and it might be more than 3 seconds, and then they separate properly, okay? So, you know, if it's not that it's the case that they're just rushing to Tsubazeriai and then not doing anything, or waiting for the clock to run down and then try to hit. You know what I mean? Like, they're not trying to game it in that way, all right? So it's very, very sort of dependent on the interpretation or the application from the shushin, all right? But I do think that there is a gap between how it's applied in Japan and how it's applied outside of Japan, because we tend to be a lot more, as I say, binary about it. Very, very much, that was 3 seconds or not. You know, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's my opinion on it anyway. But as far as I know, no rules have changed. Okay, it's a nice long one. Let's have a look. Hi, Hello Fish Sensei. Question about cleaning the Bogu. Do you have a spray, or would you recommend spraying any Bogu parts with isopropyl alcohol, denaturated ethanol, plain vodka? Oof, I wouldn't do that. Or use other non-bleach fabric or laundry disinfectant sprays such as Febreze or Sanitol wipes on your Bogu, or just resort to gently pressing off the salt stains with damp tap water only piece of cloth, as in your prior instructional videos. I can see how regular water on a slightly damp cloth might work on a new set of Bogu, but what about stinky club loans and sometimes decades old hand-me-downs that have a persistent unpleasant odours? Would using those products fade or weaken the Bogu prematurely? Also, have you heard before of using such products on Bogu causing skin rashes or headaches for the wearer, even their fragrance sensitive partners? I was trying to freshen up or disinfect parts of a very old Bogu that was recently gifted to me with Sanitol textile disinfectant deodorizer spray whilst following instructions to a T, to only find the white flowers odour left by the spray itself is pungent enough to a degree of giving me a headache and slight redness in the eyes. Days of airing the Bogu out on my balcony do not seem to help much. Is there anything to be done to salvage the situation, besides taking advantage of your great Halloween Black Friday discount deals and purchasing sweet brand new Bogu from KendoStar, obviously? That's a good option. I plan to use the worn hand-me-down Bogu only during the time it takes for a new made-to-order Bogu to arrive, but now feels perhaps I should refrain from wearing it altogether due to the irritation it appears to cause after the disinfectant treatment. I've had some rather mild asthmatic tendencies in the past, more so in my youth. Okay, so there's two choices you can do about sort of freshening your Bogu, and I do both of these. All right. One is you can use, it's called Kenko. It's a deodorizer spray. We sell it on KendoStar, right? It's a deodorizing spray, and it works pretty well, actually. It works pretty well. Basically, what you do with it is, for the first time, especially if the Bogu is kind of stinky, is you spray loads of it on the futon. Only on the futon. Don't spray it on the memberchi. You spray loads of it on so it's like proper wet with it, right? And then you leave it to dry. And then that usually you'll find does quite a good job. And then after use, you give it a light spritz after every use, all right? The other option you can do, and as I said, I actually do both of these, is if like I have a pair of kote that I particularly like I have a pair of kote that I like to wear a lot because they're super protective and I really like the feel of them. It's a Vanguard Sentinel pair of kote. I actually switch them out with lots of different Bogu sets because I really like those kote. And yeah, they started to develop their own fragrance. So what I do have as well is I have another spray bottle that I have with diluted isopropyl alcohol, and I think I diluted it like 9 parts water to 1 part isopropyl. So and I spray the Bogu down with that, or the kote. I spray it with that when it's particularly getting bad. I give it a good spray with that. Leave it. When it's dry, I'll give it a spray with the Kenko as well, and then usually it kind of lightens up, yeah. Of course, you can wash it as well, right? Now, the Bogu, you've got to be careful with washing. You can wash the kote and the tare just in a bucket of water. You could soak them in a bucket of water. That's fine as well. You can do that. A lot like you would with a kendogi. The men, you can't do quite as much because you can't get the memberchi wet, all right? That's the leather part that's painted black and red. So what you have to do is, like, you fill a tub or a bathtub. Be careful doing the bathtub, but if you get a big tub, you could fill it with water up to maybe a centimetre below the memberchi, and you could put the men in that with the men kind of facing up. But don't leave it in there for too long, because you don't want water to seep into the into the memberchi. So that memberchi, if it gets wet or damp, it will soften, and it could cause serious damage to it that can't be repaired. I mean, it can be, but it's cheaper to make a new men. Yeah, they're the main things that I do. I don't like the sort of spraying with Febreze or these sort of commercial fabric deodorizers for the same reason. I'm quite sensitive actually to that sort of thing, like there's nothing worse like when I really don't like it. Like we used when I lived in Japan, there used to be our girls team at in the company team. Our girls team, a couple of those girls used to spray their Bogu and they used to soak it in this Febreze, and it was really floral, and it was bad. Like it was, I did not like it. Like you're doing cake with them, they come and you got a waft of this, like it was like potpourri, if you remember that stuff. It was bad. I found it really distracting. So I don't like that idea. I think the Kenko deodorizer spray, the smell on that, it has got a sort of fragrance to it, but it's reasonably subtle. It's definitely not overpowering. I don't think it smells floral. It smells sort of clinical, if anything, but it's not too, as I say, it's not particularly, overpowering. But with this one that you've got, I think what you'd be a good idea, give it a spray down with maybe some isopropyl, and if you need to, just wash it like I've just mentioned. And just be careful with the men though, just don't get the men but you wet, all right? But you could, I think if you give it a good spray with some diluted isopropyl and then let it dry, I think you'll probably find it does quite a lot to aid the smell of the previous thing that you sprayed on it. With a bit of luck, okay? I hope that helps. Right. The other thing as well is, yeah, after use, like if you spray the bits, especially if you've got sweat on, with a little bit of diluted isopropyl, your salt stains are less likely to come up as well. And if you wipe it down, use a wet cloth, and like I did in the video, you're best sort of dabbing it on rather than scrubbing like that. You scrub it, it'll start to like rub the dye off it and stuff, and damage the stitching maybe as well. Excuse me. Right, okay. Hello Sensei, any tips on footwork after the strike? When I practice Fumikomi, I'm now making slap noise, not a thud with my ankle, with seme ashi. However, I feel that my momentum fizzles out after a step or two. Great perhaps for a kote cut when I want to remain in close distance, but not when I've landed a surprise men strike where my partner is not coming through. Not sure if I can finish a strike at Tsubazeri when I then slowly back off. I've seen Sensei do that at the Kyoto Taikai, but I suspect my seniors will say I'm too young and experienced to mimic that yet. Your tips would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, don't be copying the Senseis, especially the older ones at the Kyoto Taikai. That's a different stage of Kendo from where we're at. Right. First off, I'm not sure about the slap noise on the Fumikomi. Like, I sort of know what you're saying, but I think some people, I think people tend to overemphasize that a little bit and get a bit hung on it. But anyway, that aside, the key to getting the momentum from your footwork is first off making sure you're launching forward with your left leg. It's about your left leg, this, not your right leg for a start, all right? So what I think you'll find is if you're losing momentum, you probably find that as you jump forward for Fumikomi, your Fumikiri is probably sending your body weight upwards and then downwards when you hit. So you're launching upwards and then coming down when you hit. And that's why you hit this kind of dong, sort of. I'm exaggerating, it's not that bad, obviously, I expect. But it's, you know, it's not bam this way, but kind of like done this way, all right? So if you do that way, then you'll struggle to pick up the momentum to carry on going forward, all right? So that's number one, all right? Make sure that your left leg is pushing your hips directly towards your partner rather than upwards and letting them drop down onto strike, okay? Second, after the hit, your left foot must come up really fast. And here's the thing, here's the secret, all right? So this is secret information, all right? It's just for you. So everyone else, just cover your ears, right? Because this is, you know, I'm not supposed to tell you this, in fact. So in principle, okuriashi is what we use, right? Fumikomi, okuriashi. In principle, okay? But it's a kind of guideline. It's a guideline, all right? So my advice is hit with the fumikomi. And then for the first 2 or 3 steps, just run as fast as you can. Okay. Now I'm not saying like this, but if you go men, and then as the left foot comes up, it comes up a little bit first, even past. It's okay. Nobody will notice. Nobody will notice. Okay. Watch the top guys, they all do that. All right. Just to get that, bam, left foot, bring it further forward and push yourself off into okuriashi to go faster through. All right. Rather than bam, dun 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 dun, but bam, that way. All right. Secret. Okay, everyone can take your hands off your ears now. Okay. I'm not supposed to tell you that. All right. But watch them. Watch them. That's what they do. All right. You're allowed to do that until you're 50. Okay. After 50, then you have to do like the okuriashi. Unless, when I'm 50, I say something different. Okay. Next, Sensei, how to choose size for a heel protector. That was me, right, thinking we're going to have to cut that last bit out. Anyway, how to choose size for the heel protector. If I wear size 9.5, size 28, which is about size XL, should I get one size smaller or no? Also, how to deal with people punching in and pushing to the head after I hit men, especially in Shinsa or Shiai. Either I hit men or they hit men, they will push their arms forward to my men. I thought it was an accident, but they said that they got trained that way in the dojo. It's very hard to stay balanced, leave alone doing zanshin. I don't think I can just tell them to stop doing that. Okay, right, so the heel pad, no, you don't need to get one size smaller. XL is fine. Get XL, you'll be fine, okay? Especially if it's the Yamaya one, it's adjustable with Velcro. And so is the Shinbu one as well. So XL will be fine. About people punching you in the head, I hate that so much. If you're doing that, okay, this is not to person asking the question. If you find after you hit men, you punch your partners in the head a lot, you're doing it wrong. Okay? You're not supposed to do that. All right? I don't care who's told you should. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. Sorry. You shouldn't be punching people. It's not how it is. All right? You should be relaxed after you hit. All right? And if you hit and then you clash into your partner, yeah, you shouldn't punch them in the head. All right? Don't do it. It's not cool. It's not right. Okay? You should try to hit straight. That's correct. Or if your partner doesn't move or whatever, you don't punch them. All right? Bam, this way, nice and relaxed. Forward with the body this way. And if you crash into your opponent, that's fine, but not with stiff arms. All right? Bam, this way and then back. Kamae, that way. All right? Now, it's hard to deal with people that do that, but it is something that you have to deal with. So it's hard for me to tell you exactly how to deal with it. For this person that's asking the question. You just have to be a little bit more relaxed yourself as well, so that if you hit and they try to push this way, you can move your body. You have to be in control of your own momentum. All right. So if they start to punch or push you, you can maneuver yourself around it. It shouldn't happen in the grading, but who knows what people tell people to do these days. But you should be nice and relaxed. Hit, bam, this way. If they try to push you off balance, something like that, then adjust your footwork, return to kamae. All right. I think that's the only thing I can really advise you to do. You have to try to figure out how to do that depending on the way that they punch or push you. You know what I'm saying? All right. But just for the people that are doing that, just stop, all right? If you find yourself punching people in the head, it's not the right way to do kendo, all right? So don't do it. And if you're a teacher that tells your students to do that, stop, because you're teaching it wrong. They don't do that. They don't do that. The correct players, senseis don't do that to you, all right? Senseis do not do that to you. When I'm saying senseis, I'm talking about Hachidan senseis. They don't do that to you, all right? So, right. Not unless they're trying to make a point or something, but they don't, before someone goes, oh, Hachidan Sensei once did that to me in 1987. It's not, Anyway, right. Kendo, do Kendo, hashtag Kendo, hashtag Kendo. Okay, now I start this question understanding that you're not a doctor, but okay. Yeah, I'm definitely not a doctor. Recently, I developed a bit of pain in my right wrist on the outside where the joint is. It gets triggered during kirikaishi when striking to the side. Have you dealt with this sort of pain, and how do you know? And do you know any nice stretches or exercises that might help? I'll check with a medical professional if it gets worse, but any advice would be nice. No, I haven't dealt with that specific issue that you've talked about. Right wrist on the outside where the joint is. So I had a similar thing, but it was due to an injury that I sustained during Kendo. And I think what you'll find is a lot of the tendons and stuff that like you feel issues with here are connected to the lower parts of your arm, and this can sometimes be fixed with that sort of, you know, concentrating those areas as well. But I can't give you the advice on that over the internet, man, you know. So I recommend you speak to a physiotherapist and explain the details of what's going on, and I'm sure they'll be able to help you. I have lots of different injuries like that, or injuries or issues. After years of Kendo and getting to the sort of age that I'm at, of course I have them, I suffer from them all the time. And I have a physio that I trust, and he knows what I do, he knows about my Kendo. He's not a Kendo person, but he understands, you know, I've shown him, explained everything, and I see him regularly to help keep me on track. So I definitely recommend speaking to someone that would be able to help you, because it's not me. Sorry about that. Okay, last one. Hi Andy, we're having a club internal shiai this month. I'm practicing Kendo for about 6 months now, and I might only have a real chance against the students that started with me, but will surely benefit a lot from practicing shiai against our higher grades. Any advice you can give me to get some ippon out of it? Okay. You've been doing Kendo 6 months. If you get ippon, that's great. But look, try for now. Try to enjoy the experience of the shiai, and sort of try to understand the sort of atmosphere of it. And secondly, try to stick to what you've been taught. All right. Don't like try to make something up new or try something you've never done before in the shiai. Like, it's just like when you do jigeko. Like, lots of people, when they first start doing jigeko, like, everything that they've been taught or learning up to that point just goes out the window, and they just try to bash with the shinai. If you want to make ippon, you have to do what you've been taught, all right, which is strike with kentai no ichi and zanshin, all right? So stick to what you've been taught. Don't worry if you get an ippon or not. They will come in the future, all right? It's the first one you're having a go at, so don't worry about the outcome, all right? Try to just gain from the experience as much as you can, all right? And finally, as I say to everybody who asks this question about the first shiai, make sure you don't lose. And I say this to my kids as well. I've always said it to them since they were small. I said it to them right up to my daughter stepping on the shiai-jo in the quarterfinals of the World Championships. If nothing else, don't lose in the contest of kiai. Okay, make sure you at least have the bigger voice. Okay, and that's the good start. All right. Okay, and there we go. We're at the end. Thank you very much for joining me today. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment using the word Kendo. Shop at KendoStar, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.